Behind the sacred walls of a convent, vows of chastity and devotion are meant to last a lifetime. But what happens when those vows collide with raw, human desire? This is the story of how one nun's forbidden love affair didn't just break the rules. It unleashed a firestorm of sex, power, and ultimately, a conspiracy to commit murder. It's a story that proves that even in the most holy of places, human passion can be a terrifyingly destructive force. In 17th century Italy, a time of rigid social norms and absolute religious authority, Marianna de Leyva was born into privilege in 1575. As the daughter of the Count of Monza, her life was seemingly mapped out from birth. But after her mother died, Marianna was left emotionally abandoned by her often absent father. That void was soon filled with crushing pressure. For elite families, sending younger daughters to a convent wasn't a calling. It was a cold, calculated strategy. Known as forced monasticism, it kept the family fortune from being split by multiple dowries, preserving the estate for a male heir. For countless young women, the convent wasn't a sanctuary, it was a cage, and Marianna was no exception. At just 13, her father forced her into the monastery of St. Margaret in Monza. She took the name Sister Virginia Maria, and on the surface, she was the perfect nun. A writer at the time described her as modest, respectful, and obedient. She was popular and even became a teacher at the convent school. But beneath that serene facade, a storm was brewing. Sister Virginia was living a lie, torn between the holy vows she'd taken and the desire for love and freedom she was forced to suppress. This internal war started to show. She became known for being irritable, moody, and rebellious, all hints of the psychological torment she was enduring. She was a prisoner in holy robes, and it was only a matter of time before something had to give. In 1597, the catalyst for her downfall moved in next door. Count Giovanni Paolo Osio was a handsome, charming, and dangerous aristocrat whose home bordered the convent. A man with a dark reputation who had already been accused of murder, he was the embodiment of everything Sister Virginia had been denied: passion, danger, and a world beyond the convent walls. Their affair started with stolen glances and secret letters, passed on a rope between her window and his garden. It didn't stop there. With counterfeit keys from a local blacksmith and help from other nuns, and a priest named Paolo Aragone, Osio started making secret nighttime visits to Sister Virginia's chambers. What began as a secret romance soon spiraled into a full-blown scandal inside the monastery. This wasn't just a fling. It was a long-term, passionate affair that corrupted the institution from the inside out. Other nuns were pulled into the conspiracy, some willingly, others through fear. The affair became an open secret within the walls, a sign of Sister Virginia's growing power and her lover's seductive influence. Then, the stakes got even higher. In 1602, Sister Virginia gave birth to a stillborn son. The affair continued, and in 1603, she had a daughter, Alma Francesca Margherita. The baby was smuggled out of the convent to be raised by Osio, who officially legitimized her as his daughter in 1605. Sister Virginia was now living a terrifying double life: a nun and a mother, a pious figure, and a master of deceit. But secrets this big don't stay buried for long, and the price for their silence was about to be paid in blood. A world built on secrets is bound to collapse. The first gust of wind came from Caterina Cassini, a lay sister who grew tired of the deception and threatened to expose everything. For Osio, there was only one way to guarantee her silence: With the complicity of Sister Virginia and other nuns, Osio brutally murdered Caterina inside the convent. It was a shocking act of violence that crossed the line from sin to crime. They hid her body and claimed she had simply run away. To ensure the silence of the others who knew, Sister Virginia warned them they'd suffer the same fate if they ever spoke a word. But the bloodshed wasn't over. To eliminate loose ends, Osio tracked down and killed the blacksmith who had made the counterfeit keys. The scandal had morphed into a murder conspiracy held together by fear. Sister Virginia, once a victim of her family's ambition, was now an active participant in horrific crimes. Despite their efforts to cover their tracks, rumors of strange events at the monastery began to leak out. Whispers of the affair and the violence eventually reached the ears of the governor of Milan and, more importantly, the powerful Archbishop Federico Borromeo. The time for secrets was over. Archbishop Borromeo was a man committed to reforming the church, and he immediately ordered a full canonical trial. The investigation began in November 1607, and one by one, the convent secrets were dragged into the light. Sister Virginia was arrested and interrogated. Her defense? She claimed she had lost her free will, that diabolical forces had compelled her to act against her conscience. It was a desperate plea, painting herself as a pawn in a supernatural game. But the evidence was damning. Faced with the threat of torture, the other nuns confessed. The priest, Paolo Aragone, was implicated as well. During her own questioning, Sister Virginia was tortured and finally confirmed the horrific details of the affair and her role in the murders. On October 18, 1608, the verdict came down. For heresy, sacrilege, and complicity in murder, Sister Virginia was sentenced to a punishment designed to be a living death. She was to be walled in, imprisoned for 13 years in a small solitary cell at the home of Santa Valeria, a convent for penitent sinners. There, she was expected to live out her repentance in total isolation. Her lover, Giovanni Paolo Osio, had been arrested but escaped. Sentenced to death in his absence, he was eventually murdered by an alleged friend. The scandal had consumed everyone it touched. Sister Virginia survived her 13 years of brutal confinement. She was released from the sealed room in 1622, but lived the rest of her life within the convent walls. She died in 1650, forever known not as Marianna de Leyva, but as the Nun of Monza, a name synonymous with one of the most shocking scandals in the history of the Church. The story of Sister Virginia de Leyva is a dark and twisted tragedy. It's a tale of how oppression and the denial of freedom can create a monster. Her life began with her as a victim of family ambition, but it ended with her as an accomplice to unspeakable crimes. So what do you think? Was she purely a victim of circumstance, broken by a cruel system? Or was she a cunning manipulator who seized power in the only way she could, only to be consumed by the chaos she helped create?